Life is an unpredictable journey. Every day we're faced with challenges that test our patience, our willpower, and sometimes even our very purpose. But what if I told you there's a way to handle life's chaos with grace? A philosophy that has endured over 2,000 years and continues to change lives today? Welcome to the world of Stoicism. In this video, we'll explore 12 transformative Stoic principles that can help you navigate the storms of life with resilience, strength, and inner peace. By the end of this video, you'll be equipped with practical wisdom you can apply to your life today. Now, before we dive in, let me make something clear. This isn't just another self-help video filled with motivational quotes. The lessons you'll find here are ancient, timeless, and proven. The Stoics were warriors, emperors, and philosophers, men who faced death, exile, and unimaginable loss, and yet they thrived. If they can find strength in chaos, so can you. Stick with me until the end, because the final principle could be the one that changes everything for you. Principle 1. The dichotomy of control. Let's start with one of the most powerful and practical ideas in Stoicism, the dichotomy of control. Imagine this. You're late for a meeting, stuck in traffic. You've checked the clock a dozen times, your heart is racing, your palms sweating, but then something clicks. You remember that there are only two things in life, what you can control and what you can't. This realization changes everything. The traffic, beyond your control, but how you react to it, that's entirely up to you. The Stoics believed that once we recognize this distinction, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. Instead of pouring energy into things outside our power, other people's opinions, the weather, the stock market, we focus solely on what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, our reactions. Take the story of James Stockdale, a U.S. Navy pilot shot down during the Vietnam War. He was held as a prisoner of war for over 7 years, tortured and isolated. But how did he survive? By living the Stoic principle of focusing only on what he could control, his mindset. Stockdale knew he couldn't control his captors, but he could control his response, and that made all the difference. Once you internalize this principle, you'll stop wasting energy on the uncontrollable, and instead, focus on what really matters, your actions and your inner peace. Principle 2. Negative visualization. Here's a thought experiment for you. What if you lost everything tomorrow? Your job, your health, your relationships. What if it all disappeared? How would you feel? Scared? Overwhelmed? Now imagine this scenario wasn't something to dread, but something to prepare for. The Stoics practiced what they called negative visualization. They would regularly contemplate the worst possible outcomes, not to live in fear, but to mentally prepare for adversity and to appreciate what they had in the present. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, would reflect on the impermanence of life, reminding himself that even the people he loved could be taken from him at any moment. Instead of becoming paralyzed by this thought, it made him more present, more grateful, and more resilient when challenges came his way. By visualizing the worst, you build a kind of mental armor. When the storm comes, and it will, you're not caught off guard. You're ready. Principle 3. Amor fati, love of fate. Now let's take it a step further. Not only do the Stoics teach us to accept what happens to us, they teach us to love it. This is the essence of amor fati, the love of fate. Imagine you didn't just tolerate the obstacles in your life, but actually embrace them as essential parts of your journey. That breakup, that job loss, that illness, they're not roadblocks, they're stepping stones. Think about Thomas Edison. After years of hard work, his laboratory burned to the ground, taking with it decades of research and innovation. How did he respond? With a smile. He said, "Thank goodness all our mistakes were burned up. Now we can start fresh." Edison didn't just accept the fire, he loved it because he saw it as an opportunity to begin again, even better than before. Can you imagine the power of loving everything that happens to you? Not just accepting it, but loving it, because you know it's shaping you into something stronger. Principle 4. The obstacle is the way. Which brings us to the next principle, the idea that the obstacle is the way. What does that mean? In life, we often wish for things to be easy, for the path to be clear. But the Stoics remind us that the very things we see as obstacles are actually the path forward. Let's take the story of Demosthenes, an ancient Greek statesman and orator. He was born with a speech impediment, something that should have prevented him from becoming one of the greatest speakers of his time. But instead of seeing his impediment as an obstacle, Demosthenes turned it into an opportunity. He practiced speaking with pebbles in his mouth to improve his articulation and eventually became known for his powerful orations. The obstacle wasn't something to avoid, it was the key to his success. And the same goes for you. Whatever challenge you're facing right now, it's not blocking your path. It is your path. Principle 5. Memento mori. Remember death. Life is fragile. The Stoics practiced memento mori, the constant reminder that one day we will die. To many, this sounds dark or morbid, but to the Stoic, it's a call to action. It's not about fearing death, but about living fully in the time that we have. Every second you spend worrying about trivial matters is a second you can't get back. Every moment spent dwelling on the past or fearing the future is a moment you're not truly alive. Consider the great Stoic philosopher Seneca, who wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." By remembering our mortality, we stop wasting time on things that don't matter and start focusing on what does. Principle 7. Ephemeral nature of life. Life is fleeting. One of the key insights of Stoicism is the ephemeral nature of everything. Everything you hold dear, the people you love, the things you own, the successes you achieve, none of it is permanent. The Stoics remind us to hold these things lightly, not to cling to them, because they will all pass. This isn't meant to be a depressing thought, quite the opposite. By embracing the impermanence of life, we stop taking things for granted. We appreciate the present moment because we understand how fragile and temporary it is. Epictetus, a former slave-turned-philosopher, said, "When you kiss your child goodnight, whisper to yourself, 'They may not be here tomorrow.'" While this sounds harsh, it's a powerful reminder not to cling to the illusion of permanence. Instead, cherish what you have now, for nothing lasts forever. When we live with the awareness that life is constantly changing, we become more resilient to loss and more grateful for what we have. Principle 8. Mindfulness in action. Mindfulness is often associated with meditation or sitting in silence, but for the Stoics, mindfulness was a way of life. It was about being fully present in every moment, in every action. Whether you're working, eating, spending time with family, or even washing the dishes, be there completely. Be aware of what you're doing, and do it with intention. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled the vast Roman Empire, would often remind himself to focus on the task at hand. He wrote in his journal, "Concentrate every minute, like a Roman, on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness, tenderly, willingly, with justice, and on freeing yourself from all other distractions." One story tells of the painter Michelangelo, who was asked why he paid such painstaking attention to the small details in his work that no one else would notice. His response? "God is in the details." Michelangelo understood that true excellence lies in mindfulness, in paying attention to even the smallest tasks. Principle 9. Self-reflection and journaling. Self-reflection is a cornerstone of Stoic practice. The Stoics knew that to grow, to become better, we need to take time each day to reflect on our actions, our thoughts, and our behavior. One of the most powerful tools they used was journaling. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in the world, took time each night to write down his thoughts. His personal reflections were later published as Meditations, a timeless manual on how to live a virtuous life. But these writings weren't meant for anyone else. They were for him alone. They were a way for him to hold himself accountable, to remind himself of what mattered, and to improve each day. Imagine taking just 5 minutes each day to reflect. What did you do well today? Where did you fall short? What can you do better tomorrow? This simple practice helps you stay on course, to make sure you're living in alignment with your values. Seneca also used journaling as a tool for self-reflection. He would write, "When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, aware of this habit of mine, I examine my entire day and go back over what I've done and said." He did this not to punish himself but to grow. Principle 10. Voluntary discomfort. Comfort is the enemy of growth. The Stoics believed that to build resilience, you must deliberately practice voluntary discomfort. What does that mean? It means intentionally exposing yourself to hardship and challenges, so when life throws real adversity your way, you're ready. Whether it's fasting, taking cold showers, or even waking up earlier than you need to, these small, controlled acts of discomfort train your mind and body to handle stress. The Stoics knew that by getting comfortable with discomfort, they could face anything life threw at them. Musonius Rufus, one of the great Stoic teachers, would often tell his students to practice hardiness. He encouraged them to wear simple clothes, sleep on the ground, and eat plain food, even when they didn't have to. Why? Because by practicing discomfort in controlled settings, they could build the mental toughness needed to endure life's unpredictable hardships. So next time you're tempted to take the easy route, remember, the Stoics would say that's exactly when you need to embrace discomfort. That's where growth happens. Principle 11. Embrace simplicity. Simplicity is a core Stoic value. The Stoics believe that true happiness comes not from accumulating more, but from needing less. In our modern world, we're constantly bombarded with messages telling us to buy more, do more, be more. But the Stoics remind us that less is more. They practiced simplicity not just in their material possessions, but in their desires, their thoughts, and their lives. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." When you simplify your life, you reduce distractions, and you find clarity and peace. Socrates, though not a Stoic, shared a similar sentiment. One day, as he walked through the market, surrounded by merchants selling luxurious goods, he smiled and said, "How many things I can do without." The Stoics embraced this idea, not to live in poverty, but to find richness in simplicity. By simplifying your life, your thoughts, your possessions, your desires, you free yourself from unnecessary burdens and make space for what truly matters. Principle 12. Inner fortress, building mental resilience. Your mind is your greatest fortress. The Stoics believed that mental resilience, an unshakable, impenetrable inner fortress, was the key to thriving in the face of adversity. When you cultivate resilience, no external force can break you. It's about mastering your thoughts, emotions, and reactions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When we focus on strengthening our minds through reflection, mindfulness, and embracing challenges, we build an inner strength that nothing in the external world can shatter. Think about a fortress. It's built to withstand attacks from the outside. But a fortress is only as strong as the materials used to build it. In the same way, your mind is only as resilient as the principles and practices you cultivate. The Stoics believed that by building this mental resilience, you can face any challenge without being broken. One of the best examples of this inner fortress is Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived the horrors of the Nazi concentration camps. Frankl's philosophy echoed the Stoics. He realized that while everything could be taken from him, his freedom, his family, his health, the one thing no one could take was his ability to choose his response to his suffering. His mental resilience became his salvation. Frankl later wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." Your inner fortress is what protects you from life's storms. No matter what happens, whether it's a loss, a setback, or an unexpected challenge, you remain steady, calm, unshakable. And there you have it, 12 Stoic principles that can transform your life starting today. These are not abstract ideas reserved for ancient philosophers. They are practical, actionable steps that anyone, no matter where you are in life, can apply. These principles are the keys to living a life of purpose, resilience, and inner peace. But here's the truth. Knowing these principles isn't enough. You must practice them daily. You must embody them in every action, every decision, and every moment. The Stoics remind us that wisdom without action is worthless. The power lies in living these principles, not just understanding them. So here's my challenge to you. Take one principle from today's video and start practicing it immediately. Whether it's embracing discomfort, practicing mindfulness, or focusing on what you can control, take that first step. Let me know in the comments which principle resonates most with you and how you plan to apply it in your life. Remember, transformation doesn't happen overnight, but with each small step, each moment of mindful action, you'll begin to see profound changes, and before you know it, you'll look back and realize just how far you've come. Thank you for watching Stoic and Facts. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more content on Stoicism and self-improvement. Together, let's continue this journey of growth, wisdom, and transformation. Until next time, remember, amor fati, love your fate. Everything that happens for you, not to you.